Everyone thought he was a loser, but he pulls a sword out of stone to become the legendary hero and finally gets a girlfriend. Sori is a lonely teenager who has lived his entire life with the angels in their village, which is located in a mountain higher than Snoop Dogg. He is the only human there, and together with his best friend Mike, he enjoys exploring ruins. One day, Sori does extreme parkour at the edge of the mountain and finds a giant building. It is a ruin he has never explored before, and he plans to see what it holds. The two teens find a magical device and deactivate it to remove a magic wall that was preventing them from going in and are about to move forward when a stern voice commands them to stop. They turn back to see Zenris, Mike's grandfather and the leader of the Angels, who forbids the boys from entering the seal area. As Mike wonders why his grandpa won't let them explore the ruins, Sori reads The Celestial Records, a book that tells about the history of angels and humans and how they once peacefully coexisted after banishing the forces of evil from the world. The people began to worship the angels, and among them, those with talent were blessed by the powers of the angels and were called heroes, who would protect humans from calamity and lead them to peace and prosperity. Sori believes that the book speaks the truth, and the ruin they saw today matches the description of the capital of angels, the most important place in the shared history of humans and angels. Mike agrees with his friend, and despite his grandfather's warning, he decides to race Sori to find something interesting in the ruin first. The next day, Sori enters the ruin and uses a grappling hook to jump to other buildings like a Walmart Spider-Man. He then enters the interior of the building and sees a majestic mural of the hero brandishing the sacred sword. Sori matches the mural to the diagram in the book and exclaims that it is just like the one in the capital of angels. After that, he notices that a statue in front of the mural is wearing a glove with the crest of the hero. Just then, Mike comes there and takes the glove like a jealous but acknowledges that Sori won this race. Suddenly, lightning and thunder dance across the sky, and Sori notices it is not natural, judging by how it is flowing in odd directions. The boys run to safety, fearing that the ruin was calling lightning towards itself to get rid of intruders, but then Mike walks into a trap. Sori and Mike fall down a hole, and just before they hit the ground, Mike summons his magic staff and uses his water magic to save Sori. Mike makes a clean landing and remarks how huge and wide the hole was, and Sori tells him that his mom still won't fit through it. Sori then looks around and finds that it is inside a temple, so he decides to explore it. Soon, he finds a collapsed platform and spots a human in the rubble. Mike can't believe that a human can come here, and he stops Sori from trying to help because his grandpa had told them to stay away from humans. Sori protests that the girl down there might still be alive, and Mike calls him a simp before agreeing to help him. Sori uses his grappling hook to swing down before running on an invisible bridge to reach the girl. Mike tells him to rethink his actions, but the simp wakes up the female knight, who is shocked to see him. Sori offers her his hand, but she doesn't want to touch his simp, who might do God knows what with that hand later. Suddenly, the girl asks Sori if he's the hero, and both Sori and Mike are stunned by the question. He replies that he is just a regular human, even though he has never seen any humans before. The female knight named Alicia is shocked to hear this and asks him if this is the capital of angels. Sori says he believes it is, but the only hero here is the one in the mural. Alicia is disappointed and thinks that the stories about the hero are just a legend, and that the world cannot be saved. Sori leads her back to the village, and Mike warns him that it is a bad idea because he is bringing a human into their village where she refuses to tell her name or anything about herself. Sori believes that she is not a bad person and turns to see her looking all nervous. Alicia can only see Sori and not Mike, who realizes that his grandpa was right when he said ordinary humans can't see them. As they exit the ruins and come out, Alicia is amazed at the view and thinks she should have brought her DSLR here. They enter the village of angels, and Mike goes to report the human to his grandpa. As Sori stands with Alicia, other angels come there, and he wants to introduce them to Alicia. However, she interrupts him and says that if there are any angels here, she begs for their help to save the world, which is being consumed by the darkness again. The angels say nothing, not that she can hear them, but one of them asks Sori to tell the girl to leave before she creates problems. Later, Sori goes to Zenris, who lectures him about the dangers of bringing humans here, but he says he could not leave her helpless in the ruins. Zenris understands his concerns but asks him to send the girl back because humans always bring about disasters for angels. Sori points out that he is a human and has been living peacefully here, and he talks about how the books say humans coexisted happily with angels, but Zenris says that it is all in the past. At night, Sori has dinner with Alicia, who apologizes for startling him during the day by calling out to angels. She has not realized they are here, and she feels like Sori will think she is schizophrenic. He does not clear up her misunderstanding and instead asks her about her world. She states that she is from Ladylake, the capital city of the Highland Kingdom. Sori has heard the name of the city, which had a story about a sacred sword that could only be pulled out by the hero. Alicia confirms that they have the sacred sword in the city, but no one has pulled out game strong enough to take the sword out. Soon, Sori reads a book while Alicia falls asleep and has a nightmare in which a demon appears from within a fire tornado and threatens to devour her. She wakes up screaming and Sori rushes to her. After she calms down, she notices the celestial records in Sori's hand and says that she was also inspired by this book to travel the world and explore ruins. However, the world is not in a state to be explored right now as calamities come one after the other, and she survived one of them. She tells him how she was lost in a dark forest on a rainy day after being separated from her friends. She found a ruin in the forest and took shelter there, but she never knew there was a tiny mascot creature along with her in the ruins. Alicia slept in the ruins, and in the morning she woke up and found a mural of the hero brandishing the sacred sword. She was amazed and took a good look at it, hoping it would lead her to the truth. Unaware of the small creature, which was actually a minor angel following and imitating her actions, Alicia read the celestial records, which told about the capital of angels. The capital was a holy place where only a chosen few humans could enter, and they were given the role of leading humanity as the hero. Despite believing that the story was nothing more than a myth, Alicia kept moving forward without realizing that an army of bugs was crawling towards her. The minor angel tried to contact her and warn her, but she could not see it. However, as the creature used his invisible barrier to stop the bugs from attacking her, she turned around and panicked upon seeing them. The minor angel uses its power to disintegrate some bugs, but Alicia was too terrified to do anything. The creature then kicked the bugs against a wall, and its power created a hole in it, making Sori realize that it was hollow. She bashed the wall with her shoulder and fell inside the secret room. She found herself going down a water slide which led her to a pool. However, Alicia soon found that the pool was extraordinary as it had anti-gravity water and was on the roof of a corridor. Just as Alicia peered out of the water, she fell face first into the hallway and collapsed. She soon woke up and found the exit that led her to a giant waterfall. She found a tree in front of her with a small stone pillar bearing the mark of a hero next to it. As she checked it, the pillar started moving by itself and reached a place with abundant sunlight. The crest on the pillar shone and the ground rumbled as the water split and gave way to a tunnel that led Alicia into the ruins. She was lost for a long time and then came to a giant temple, where the statue suddenly shot lightning at the platform she was standing on and sent her crashing to the floor where Sori found her. Alicia claims that she put her faith in the legends and came here to find the angels, but she found that it was just a myth. As Sori contemplates her words and wonders whether he can tell her the truth, Alicia goes outside and cries, while Zenris and other angels watch over her. The next morning, Sori finds Alicia sleeping outside with the shawl draped around her and realizes that the angels have taken a liking to her. Sori then takes her to the ruins and shows her the impressive mural and the glove with the crest of the hero. He tells her that the angels and hero are real and not just a fairy tale, and one day the hero will arrive to save the world. He talks about his dream of a world where humans and angels live together. Sori asks Alicia to believe that their dreams will come true and gives her the glove to give her hope. Soon it is time for Alicia to leave and she bids Sori farewell. As she takes a few steps, she turns back and finally tells Sori her name, apologizing for keeping it a secret from her savior. Alicia then walks to him and says that she could not see or hear the angels, but she certainly felt their presence in the village and can sense them even now. Sori is left speechless and Alicia tells him that the trial of the sacred sword will be held soon, suggesting that he should participate in it. She claims that the original hero must have been a person like Sori, so she gives him the glove, saying he deserves it. Just as Alicia is out of the village's domain, Zenris notices that an intruder has snuck in. He jumps up and takes a position that gives him a better view, but finds nothing, so he tells everyone to be on guard and spread out to search for the intruder. Sori and Mike join the search too, and when they see a blue flame explosion in the distance, they run towards it. They find that the fox-eared human has already defeated one of their own. Foxy is excited to see two more playing buddies and Sori and Mike draw their weapons. They tell him to leave before they make him, but he just laughs and mocks them. Sori runs towards him, but Foxy charges at him with great speed, overwhelming him with his quick moves. He grabs Sori's throat, puts him through a wall, and then takes him to the deep forest, where he tosses him away. Foxy is about to Rasengan the shit out of Sori, but he dodges that attack at the last moment. Foxy rushes at him again, but Mike arrives there to back his friend and shoots Foxy with a water gun. He dodges the attack and Mike follows up with homing icicle lances. Foxy evades them too and then jumps behind Mike, aiming to finish him first. Sori covers for him and uses a powerful blow to Foxy's gut that sends him flying and crashing into a wall. Despite the attack, he is unscathed, but then the real boss, Zenris, makes a dashing entry and gives Foxy one final chance to run away. He accepts it this time, saying that he does not want to waste time on side dishes when he can have the main course before running away. Sori then apologizes to Zenris, believing that the invader found out about their village because he let Alicia in. However, Mike and Zenris think the attack was neither Sori's nor Alicia's fault. At night, Sori recalls what Foxy said about the main dish and realizes that he must have been after Alicia from the start. He rushes to save her and apologizes to his friends for leaving them without saying anything, but Mike is right there with him, as he plans to join him on his journey. Sori is taken aback and asks him why he wants to do that. Mike replies that if Foxy is after Alicia, they must help her, and Sori won't be enough for that. He then shows a dagger he found in the ruins that Alicia lost during her exploration. The dagger has the crest of the royal family of Hilland, which means Alicia was no ordinary knight, but a princess, and they should help her. Sori is happy to learn that his best friend is coming along, and Mike blushes as he says that he can't let a naive idiot out into the world alone. They walk to the human realm, and Mike relays the message from his grandpa asking Sori to walk his own path and live life to the fullest. They come to the human realm soon, and as the sun rises, Sori's eyes gleam in wonder as he takes in the wonderful sight. Sori and Mike travel around until they finally reach the city of Lagalik. They see a huge crowd entering the city, and being country bumpkins, they are flabbergasted by the sheer number of people. As Sori is looking at the queue, a redhead merchant comes there and helps him cross the gate because she realizes he is a newcomer who is not accustomed to the way of life in the city. On learning that he doesn't have a pass to enter the city, she suggests another way that he can use to quickly enter the city. She tells him about her merchant caravan called Sparrow Feathers, which has free visas to all countries and cities. She helps Sori cross the gate with her pass and then asks him for money. It was then that Sori learned about money and said he had nothing like that. The redhead doesn't believe him and starts searching inside his bag, where she finds a dagger with the royal crest. Sori refuses to give that to her, claiming that he has to return it to someone, and the redhead understands, saying that Sori owes her one now. Soon Sori and Mike enter the city, and they are amazed by its festive vibes. Sori thanks the redhead before she leaves for business, but as he turns to Mike, he finds that he is getting a stroke because of the evil aura present around here. It turns out it was more than just a stroke of his introverted nature, which gets better as soon as he moves away from people. Just then, Sori spots Foxy in the market. Foxy runs, doing parkour over the city, and Sori follows him and finally catches up to him. He demands to know why Foxy is after Alicia, and he replies that he had taken a contract to assassinate her. However, he found that things are always amusing around the princess, so he has given up on assassinating her. But that only means other parties are pursuing her now, and he tells Sori to have fun protecting the girl before running away. Soon, Sori and Mike join the line for the sacred sword ritual, and by the time they enter the temple, the ritual is about to end. Alicia and her teacher are present there, along with other council members. The sacred sword of legends is embedded in a rock, and at its base, a white-haired beauty sleeps. Only Sori and Mike seem to notice her, and they realize that she is an angel who gave the sacred sword to the original hero. A strong knight comes forth to lift the blade, but as he struggles and fails, the white-haired woman wakes up, feeling the strong evil aura rising from the audience. Alicia's teacher then declares that their country could not hold this trial for the past few years because of the state of the world, but this time they were able to do it because of the princess. While people applaud for her, one council member is not happy, and his eyes are on an assassin he has hired to deal with the princess. After the knight trying his hand fails to pull it out, Alicia walks ahead and tells the people that their kingdom is on very bad terms with their neighbors right now, and a war could start at any moment. She claims that most people think that she organized the trial to raise public morale before the war, but she does not want that. Alicia declares that she wants to achieve peace and harmony with her neighbors, so she does not plan to attack them until they attack first. Her statement is not welcomed by the audience, who fear and panic about the war and the foolish attitude of their leader, and the evil aura surrounding the area gets denser. Mike and the white-haired girl feel it, and then suddenly, darkness creeps in and all the torches explode with a blue flame. The windows are smeared by darkness, and an evil aura comes flowing towards the center, forming a giant bubble that bursts to reveal a phantom dragon or demon. The demon flies around, destroying the temple and setting it on fire, but as it rushes to the sacred sword, its energy repels it. Sori realizes that there is only one way to stop the demon and runs towards the sword, calling out Alicia's name. He almost gets hit by the demon's tail, but safely reaches her. The building is on fire and everyone is panicking because they don't even know what hit them since they can't see the demon. Sori runs to the sword and the woman in front of it and introduces himself to her. He asks her to do something about the demon with her powers, but the woman replies that only the hero can purify it. Seeing him talk to empty air, Alicia realizes Sori can really see angels, but before she can ask him about it, an assassin attacks her. Alicia dodges and blocks the attacks, but the assassin has a higher agility stat than her and overwhelms her. Alicia's teacher wants to help her, but the main conspirator behind the assassination, Chancellor Bartlol, tells her to help other people evacuate. Sori is torn between trying to help Alicia and saving everyone and being a simp. He chooses the first option. However, Alicia shouts at him to stop and tells him to do something about the demon, as there is no one else who can do it. Sori goes to the sacred sword, and the woman says that since he can see her, he has the required qualifications to be a hero. However, she doesn't plan to let him wield the sword before he reveals why he wants that power. Sori first asks the woman for her name and learns she is called Layla, and then tells her about his dream to discover ruins around the world. He wants to use the knowledge from the ruins to create harmony between humans and angels once more, and defeating the demon will bring him closer to his dream of achieving everlasting peace. After having given his speech, he reaches out to the sword, and just as he is about to touch it, a bright light emanates from it and time stops. Sori wonders if this is what people call a JoJo reference, but then he hears Layla's voice coming from the sword. She tells him that the hero is probably the loneliest person in the world who must make agonizing decisions and risk getting hated by people even after saving them. Sori replies that he does not mind taking that burdensome path if he can protect everyone here. He holds the sword and the crest of the hero appears on his hand. He draws the sword from the stone and time starts moving again. Sori radiates a golden aura, and as the demon attacks him, he is unfazed. He rushes towards the phantom dragon, slicing it with ease, and then lands on the ground, showing off his Genshin Impact costume and a giant flaming sword. Everyone is stunned to see him, and then Layla's spirit appears next to him, telling him to use her power to defeat the demon. Sori channels her flame powers through the sword, and with one swing, he incinerates the demon. The darkness vanishes with the monster's defeat, and the fire in the building goes out too. Sori returns to normal after that, and the sword vanishes and enters his body. As everyone stares at him in disbelief, the assassin after Alicia's life runs away shortly before Sori collapses. 3 days later, Sori wakes up in Alicia's home and finds Mike and Layla next to him, who say he was too tired because of channeling the sword's energy and had a high fever while he was unconscious. Sori learns that Alicia saved him, and he immediately realizes her life was in danger too. As he asks about her, she comes to the room and expresses her relief at seeing him fine. They get a hearty breakfast and they thank each other for saving their lives. Alicia claims that her heart started racing when she saw him pull out his sword and defeat the monster, and to thank him for that, she has prepared a gift. Sori wears the hero's outfit, a toned-down version of his Genshin costume, and while the girls praise him, Mike says that it's just putting lipstick on a pig. As Sori bickers with him, Alicia is astonished and asks him if the angels are here. Sori says they are here, and he introduces Mike and Layla to her. Alicia claims that she always knew in her heart that Sori would become the hero one day and believes that everyone else is useless because they cannot see the angels even when they are in front of them. Layla wants to tell Alicia that she isn't useless, so she asks Sori to hold her hand so she can activate his powers for a data transfer. Sori holds Alicia's hand while Layla speaks to her, but nothing happens, and then she asks him to close his eyes for better results. Nothing happens even then, and Mike says Sori can't concentrate because he is holding a girl's hand for the first time in his life. Layla tells Sori to put on more sensory blocks and asks him to hold his breath too while she closes his ears. When she talks to Alicia after this, she can hear her and even Mike's voices. Layla then tells Alicia that angels can look into the hearts of humans, and those who neglect them start giving way to evil aura and bring calamity, but she has never done that. They are taking their sweet time, but then Sori stops them and starts panting because he can't hold his breath any longer. He asks Layla that there must be a better way to do this, and she replies that if he can master his abilities as the hero, no sensory blocks will be required. Sori takes this as good news and thinks that if he can work hard and level up his hero skills to the max, he can deliver the angel's voice to everyone. However, Layla believes it is not possible since Alicia had the innate talent to recognize the angels. Just then, Alicia gets a summon from the palace, and Layla suggests to Sori that they should go sightseeing in the meantime. They ride a carriage together, and Sori sees the mark of the hero on the streets. Alicia says that people have been waiting for the return of their greatest hero for centuries, and this is their way to welcome him. Sori gets cold feet as he thinks about the crushing wave of expectations, and then Alicia drops him and the two angels at the palace gate, where he gets another bout of weakness. Layla explains that the cause of his sudden weakness is evil aura, and Sori can also see it now. She tells him to concentrate and figure out its source, and Sori focuses hard and finds the evil aura coming from a ruined gate. He's getting accustomed to the evil aura and decides to go inside to see its source. Sori finds a hollow wall in the ruins, which is some sort of sealed door with two-factor authentication. Mike finds the first key, but then another lock pops up. Layla asks the boys how they know so much about ruins, and they reply that it was the only fun activity they had back in the village. The second lock has the crest of the Highland royal family on it, and Sori realizes that he forgot to return Alish's dagger to her so they can use it as a key. He places the crest over the seal, which opens the magic door binding the wall. They enter a dark corridor, where the torches light up automatically as they walk in front of them. They soon enter an open area with a stronger evil aura, and Sori is taken aback as he sees a dragon statue. He knows that dragons are called the symbol of ill fortunes and the incarnation of calamity, and if a human creates a statue of one, he might as well be a devil worshipper. Sori wonders if the statue is the source of evil aura, but Layla believes it is something else. Just then, they sense activity overhead and look up to find a phantom bat demon. It attacks the party, separating them, and when Mike uses his ice attack on it, it shatters into smaller bats. Layla signals Sori to get ready, and he uses his power to slash the bats with his sword. Layla also supports him by using explosive talismans, and irritated by that, the bats combine to become the giant demon again. They attack Mike, and Sori rushes to save him, but realizes that it is too tricky to deal with the giant bat. Layla asks him to disperse it into smaller bats so that she can purify them all with her flames. Sori rushes at the demon and cuts it into smaller fragments that turn into bats, and Layla spreads her talismans in the room to use her powerful skill Flare Vortex that burns away the evil aura controlling the bats. The bats return to normal and fly away, and Sori is glad that they won. Layla checks up on his health and tells him that he can use the supernatural strength he gets from the angels, but entering into a contract with them will put stress on his body. She tells him if he ever feels burdened because of her, she can go inside him, and she demonstrates it by turning into her spirit form and entering his body. Sori is creeped out and calls Layla back, but then Mike reminds them that evil aura is not gone yet, and its true source seems to be deep inside. They soon enter a dark and shabby room. Layla lights it up, and Sori is horrified as he sees skeletons and chains, making him realize it was a torture room of sorts. Mike is disgusted too, and Layla sadly explains that this ruin was created by the previous kings of the Highland Kingdom. The people who rebelled against the government went missing like they do in China and Russia, and then they were brought here and executed in secret. Their bodies withered away with time, but their hatred has now turned into evil aura and is spawning demons. Sori is horrified, but he is relieved to learn that at least Alicia is not involved in any of this cruelty. Layla declares she brought him to this place to tell him about the hero's final role, which is to destroy the Lord of Calamity, who is the source of all evil aura and the creator of evil aura. His evil aura is so intense that it can lead the world to ruin, and Sori is not strong enough to face him yet. That is why Layla asks him to travel the world and find his reasons to protect the world while growing stronger to face his final enemy. Sori is tense, but Mike tells him not to think too much about it with his empty brain. Just then, they feel water filling up the room, and Layla realizes that the evil aura here has corrupted even parts of the lake. She tells her friends to run away just as fountains of dark water erupt and the roof cracks because of them. Mike uses his ice magic to freeze the water and creates a chance to run away, but the ice melts soon enough, and they find even the main hall is flooded. One water fountain tosses Sori up, who loses his balance and is about to get headbutted by the giant dragon statue, but Mike and Layla combine their powers to save him. They rush outside, hoping it will be safe there, but find a terrible storm raging there, and Layla points upwards, saying a strong evil aura is causing this. There is a terrifying dark tornado in the middle of the city, and though Sori and his friends are stunned to see it, they are also determined to stop it. However, the tornado is not the worst of their worries, as they can see the silhouette of a dragon inside it. The tornado changes its direction and heads towards the royal palace, where Alicia is dumbfounded to see it. She calls her guards to let the civilians take shelter inside the palace when her teacher notices Sori standing in front of the tornado. Mike tells him that they cannot stop it and they will be wasting their lives by standing in front of the dragon, but Sori does not want to let Alicia be harmed. However, the dragon suddenly flies away and the tornado dissipates, followed by the weather returning to normal. Layla is still shaken as she says that she never expected to see a dragon here, and what was even more terrifying was that it seemed to be made of evil aura. Soon, Alicia comes running to thank Sori, and the people of the city gather there too. They believe that the hero chased the dragon away and started cheering for him, giving him no chance to explain himself. Just then, Chancellor Bartlow, the schemer, arrives there and asks Sori to join him for dinner as he wants to properly thank him. Alicia is not supportive of this idea because she feels Bartlow wants to manipulate the hero, but Sori can only think about free food, so he accepts the invitation and asks her to be his +1. Later, they return to her mansion, but on the way, Sori sees the destruction caused by the tornado and asks Alicia to stop the carriage for a bit. They go outside because Sori has noticed the evil aura growing stronger, and Layla says that they don't have long before it completely overruns the city. Soon, they reach the Chancellor's house, but the servant there does not let Alicia come with Sori, saying that she has been called by the king immediately. She is reluctant but cannot move on her own since the king is involved. Sori then meets up with Bartlow, who inquires about his relationship with Alicia, and Sori reveals they are friends. The old man claims he wants to be friends with him too, and he offers him a drink. Mike tells Sori to be careful about free food and test it for poison, but after learning it is safe, he lets Sori drink it. Bartlow then asks him about his plans, and Sori reveals that he plans to defeat the dragon first, because by slaying it, he can take one step towards peace. At night, while Sori peacefully sleeps, Mike invites Layla for a private chat because he seems to have lost his sense of purpose after his best friend became the hero. He asks Layla what he should do to help Sori now, and she tells him to go north and find an ancient ruin that holds a legendary artifact similar to the sacred sword. She believes he can help Sori if he finds that artifact, and Mike leaves alone to find it. In the morning, when Sori realizes Mike has left, he panics but then calms down, thinking that his best friend must have some valid reason to leave without telling him. He decides to do what he must and proceeds ahead to chase the dragon. He then meets Alicia, who has been ordered by the king to help a city suffering from plague, so he decides to join her squad as her bodyguard and escorts her to the neighboring city. During their breaks, she tells him that when the dragon first appeared before humans, a legendary mountain called Rayfok made its appearance. It seemed to have some connection to dragons, and that is why he must go there to find clues. They travel through a strange forest where magical tentacled jellyfish live. Alicia assures Sori that they are gentle creatures, but at night, the creatures attack their camp. However, Sori and Layla can see its true form and realize it is a demon that has taken over the tentacle monster's body. Sori lunges towards the monster and hits it with his sword, purifying it with one hit. The next day, Alicia tells Sori that the city they are going to is suffering from a terrible case of plague, and the doctors sent from the capital might not help them much. She then asks Sori about his life story, and he has heard that old man Zenris saved him from a great fire and adopted him. He says that according to Zenris, he could always see and hear angels, and Alicia wants to learn more about them. Sori recites what he has read in the celestial records and says that angels are not all-powerful and can control one of the four basic elements, namely earth, water, fire, and air. In ancient times, humans could see and hear them, but then they stopped revering them and lost their ability to interact with them. Soon, humans started fighting each other, and the Age of Chaos started, leading the world to its present state. Soon, they part ways and Sori heads to Mount Rayfok, while Mike reaches the ruins after a long journey at the same time. They both remember how they were always inseparable and dreamed of exploring all the ruins of the world together. Mike falls asleep at the gate of the ruins, and when he wakes up the next morning, he sees their majestic view. He walks to the half-submerged ruins and dives in to enter them. He reaches the center of the ruins and finds a majestic bow, but just as he is about to take it, a bunch of insect-like demons attack him. He fights back with his staff but can't do much and backs away, luckily getting into contact with the bow and gaining its power. With that power, he blows away the demons and decides to return to Sori at once. Back at Sori's location, he and Layla climb the mountain, but the evil aura gets thicker, causing him problems breathing. Just then, they hear a loud bang and an umbrella comes drifting towards them. As Sori wonders what is happening, the girl falls down the mountain with great speed, and fortunately for her, Sori was in the way of her trajectory. He takes the impact of her fall and somehow manages to stay standing, but instead of thanking him, the girl calls him a molester. Layla recognizes the girl as the angel Edna, but as they say their greetings, an orc demon attacks them with his spiked mace. Sori barely dodges his crushing blow, and then Edna uses her earth magic to send the demon flying. She gets down, saying she was here just on her routine patrol and never expected to run into so many unwelcome guests here. Sori thanks her, but she tells him it is too early for that as the demon is still alive. Sori charges at the monster with his flaming sword, but his attacks have no effect on him. The demon is about to send him flying, but then Layla covers for him with her fire magic. Her attacks also have no effect on the monster because of the thick evil aura, but then a mysterious gunslinger shoots it, and the demon collapses after being burned by blue flames. It dissipates, and Sori wonders what just happened as the gunslinger comes ahead and tells him that he was quite a pathetic hero. Layla identifies the dark-skinned man as the angel Xavi, who wields a special artifact that can kill demons. Sori confronts him, saying that there was no need to kill the demon as they could have purified the creature inside it, but Xavi laughs, saying that sometimes death is the only salvation. Edna tells Xavi to get lost, but he says he will not leave until he kills his target. Just then, Sori feels like something is coming, and the evil aura around them starts rising as the earth shakes. Xavi says the dragon he is targeting is here, and sure enough, the dragon flies towards them and roars. Edna calls it her brother, and Xavi tells the shocked Sori that the dragon is really Edna's older brother and his former best friend. The dragon starts moving towards them, and Sori says that they should purify him since he is originally an angel, but the dragon almost crushes him under his feet. Zavid saves him at the last moment and tells him that fully manifested dragons cannot be purified, and Layla and Edna also support his statement. Zavid says he will kill the dragon with his own hands now, but before he can shoot it, Edna creates a stone wall between them, asking him to leave her brother alone. Her dragon brother attacks her, but Sori saves her life. Zavid shoots at the dragon and tells Sori to take Edna and run. Sori takes her to safety, but Edna still refuses to thank him and calls him a molester again before asking why he was here. He tells her about the dragon that attacked the city, but Edna says it was not her brother. Sori knows that, and he says he just wanted to reach the mountain to find the truth about dragons, since it could help him understand why the world is falling into ruin lately. Edna tells him to leave now that she has seen his dragon, but Sori tells her that he wants to find a way to save her brother at any cost. She calls him an idiot, but then tells him that her brother loved humans and one day he left to visit their city, but when he returned, he was a dragon. She thinks that he spent too much time with them and got tainted by their evil aura, which turned him into a monster that cannot be purified. However, Sori tells her that the world is full of mysteries and they might just stumble upon a way to purify a dragon too. She is moved by his words, but then she notices that the fight between Zavid and Aizen is in full bloom. Zavid misses all his shots at the dragon, who overwhelms him with its superior strength and fire-breathing ability. Edna is worried about her brother, but Zavid tells her to stay back because he doesn't even remember her or anything else anymore. Sori decides he must do something, even if it is pointless, and asks Layla to lend in all her strength. He transforms into his ultimate mode and rushes at the dragon to slash it with his flaming sword. As Sori launches a barrage of fiery attacks on the dragon, Edna remembers her brother. As the dragon overpowers Sori and sends him crashing, she walks to the dragon and asks him to stop. She asks her brother to return to her, but the dragon sends her flying with a swing of its tail and then prepares a fireball for her. Sori rushes to save her, but then suddenly, the dragon cancels its attack and flies away without harming Edna. As she is relieved that her brother still remembers her, Sori talks with Zavid, who also accepts that not all hope is lost. He decides to leave on a journey to find a solution to purify his dragon friend, but tells Edna to call him if she ever wants to kill her brother. After that, Edna asks Layla to prepare a sublord contract for her that will allow her to help Sori so that he can find a way to help her brother. Sori gladly accepts her help and forms a contract with her. Sori, Edna, and Layla set out on their journey, and at night, Sori declares his intentions to visit the kingdom of Roland's next, because according to the celestial records, dragons used to be worshipped as deities there. Edna says that the world is not like in the books, but she has no problem accompanying him if they can find some clues to save her brother. After that, Layla asks Sori what purification means to him, and he wonders what kind of dumb question that is. Layla tells him that it is important to have his own image of purification, otherwise evil aura will get to him as he keeps on fighting demons. She suggests he develop an imagination, and to help him with that, she uses a talisman to shake their campfire like a demon. Layla asks Sori to purify it and find his answer, and he slashes the fire dummy. His attack has no effect, and the fire returns to its humanoid shape again and again before Layla turns it back to normal. Sori says it is too hard, but Layla thinks that while Sori's potential as the hero is quite high, his main motivation is to help people, which makes his powers frail, and perhaps Mike could help her better in this condition. The next morning, as Sori and the girls come down the mountain, they find two of Alicia's soldiers waiting for them. They tell them about a terrible storm that destroyed the bridge they had to take to help the ailing city. Alicia was worried about the people who needed her help, so she found another bridge at some distance and rushed towards it. But after covering some distance, the weather changed all of a sudden, and as Alicia turned back, she noticed that the storm clouds were fixed in their place as if by magic. That is why she went ahead to deliver the medicines and left two soldiers to inform Sori about it. Sori borrows a horse and rides ahead, only to find that the terrible storm was in fact caused by a demon. Sori soon reaches Alicia's teacher and the knights that have been blown away by the storm, and Layla realizes that the King Cobra-like demon can control weather. She volunteers to keep the people here safe, and Sori can only team up with Edna. She grants him her powers, and he transforms into his second Genshin costume, which has an earth element. He charges at the snake and rocks its world with a punch, but then the snake counterattacks with magic blasts. Sori dodges some of them and blocks the last one, deciding to purify the monster now. However, before he can do anything, the demon is struck by red lightning and a dragon attacks it from the sky. Edna tells him that the dragon is only a puppy right now, and since it is not a complete demon, it can be purified. Sori decides to purify it and uses the snake as a base to launch himself towards the dragon puppy, which flies away and Sori falls to the ground. He is frustrated that he could not purify the baby dragon, but at least the snake was taken care of. Later, Sori learns from Alicia's teacher that the baby dragon flew towards the city where Alicia was heading, and he wants to save her. He asks Edna if she can create a bridge using her earth magic, but she says it will not be possible until the flood subsides. That happens soon, and Sori punches the ground and gives it multiple boners, creating a temporary stepping bridge. On the other side, Mike finds a minor angel being chased by an angry demonized tree while he is resting, so he shoots the tree to protect the small guy. The tree does not take much damage from Mike's attacks, so he decides to shoot it again. However, the minor angel realizes he needs more firepower, so he uses his unique skill that boosts Mike's abilities into overdrive, and one arrow sends the demonized tree flying through the forest. The minor angel is tired, and later, as he drinks water from a stream, he introduces himself as an Atuk. He claims that Mike is a wise young man to know about the minor angels or Norman despite his age. He claims that Norman angels have the role of looking after villages, and in the past, there were a lot of them who helped connect humans and regular angels, but now, they're all scattered. Mike thanks Atuk for granting him power earlier and then tells him that since the demons are not dealt with, it is still dangerous for him. Atuk learns that Mike plans to find his friend, so he decides to team up with him until that happens. On the way, Atuk is surprised to learn that Mike knows Layla, claiming that she was his ex. Mike is grossed to learn that Layla is into furries, but then they come down to the river and spot a group of humans talking about how the hero used his power to create a bridge. Atuk and Mike realize that Sori is nearby and they rush to find him. Sori soon reaches the second largest city of Hilland and finds that it has fallen into ruin. The evil aura is thick, and Sori is certain that it is what caused the plague in this city, and the reason behind both things is the dragon puppy. He rushes to find Alicia, who has been serving the patients as a nurse. As soon as they meet, Edna remarks that she is prettier than she thought, and Alicia asks who said that. Sori introduces her to his new angel partner, but then realizes that Alicia heard her voice without touching his hand. Layla remarks that it must be because his proficiency as a hero has increased, and now he can transmit voices wirelessly too. Alicia is happy for a bit, but then her mood swings strike, and she becomes depressed and mopey as she says none of her medicines are working. She fears that everyone here will die despite their best efforts, and Sori says they must do something about the source of all this mess. Suddenly, he hears the baby dragon's roar and decides to purify it once and for all. Sori asks Edna to stop the dragon from flying away, so she uses a powerful barrier to keep it down, while Sori borrows Layla's power to attack him. However, the dragon breaks through the barrier and flies away. Edna realizes that the baby dragon is very close to maturing, and once that happens, it will become much more powerful. The dragon then attacks them with its fire breath, and Sori keeps neutralizing the attacks before they cause destruction. Layla wishes that Mike could miraculously come to their aid with the sacred artifact, and Sori says he can sense that he is nearby, so they just have to hold out for a bit. Sori flies towards the dragon, but gets smashed to the ground and loses his power-up. The dragon then decides to finish Layla first, and Sori stands in the way of its fire breath. However, before the attack hits anyone, an arrow destroys it, and Sori turns around to see Mike coming to him with a bow and a small mascot character. Layla doesn't waste any time and establishes a sublord contract with Mike, skipping terms and conditions like all of us, so that Sori can use his powers quickly. Mike runs towards Sori, who is dodging the dragon's fire breath constantly, just as the contract is established, and Sori calls forth his power and transforms into Genshin costume number 3. The dragon gathers all the evil aura in the area to launch a powerful attack, but Sori and Mike also combine their powers to use their ultimate move, the Azure Shot. The dragon launches its destructive breath towards them, but Sori's Azure Shot pierces the attack and the dragon. As a bonus, it hits the clouds and clears the weather too. The dragon falls to the ground, and Sori and Mike exit their fusion mode. They are both gasping for breath, but then they do their signature handshake to celebrate their reunion. Soon after that, they decide to take care of the residual evil aura defiling the city waters to stop the spread of the plague. Thanks to Mike's water element, they make quick progress in purifying the canal and then head back. Later that day, they take a break at the city library, where Mike and Edna bicker with each other for no reason. They also catch up with Roland, the angel in charge of protecting the city, who failed to do his duty and even got consumed by evil aura and became the dragon that attacked the city. After Sori's attack purified him, he returned to normal. Now Roland regrets that he was incompetent and let the evil aura get to him. Layla says it is not his fault, as a strong evil aura is hard to resist, and Sori asks him what the origin of the evil aura was. Roland doesn't remember anything clearly, but he believes it was something minor at first. Suddenly, Atuk speaks up, saying that he has seen many villages disappear because of such minor incidents while he is sitting on Layla's lap like a creep. She picks him up as Roland recognizes that he is a Norman angel, who were once abundant, but only a few of them are seen now. Just then, Alicia comes there with dinner and sits next to Sori to eat. She thanks him for his help in purifying the water, but he says that it is not complete yet because it will take at least 1 year for all the water in the water cycle to be purified. Alicia understands and then thanks the angels for saving the city, adding that the people would be happy to live alongside them again. Sori asks her about the condition of the city, and she replies that while things are still gloomy, people are starting to smile little by little. Sori asks if he can help with something, and after a few minutes of useless formality, she asks him to help rebuild the city with the supplies sent from the capital. Sori helps unload the supplies and then notices Alicia warning her soldiers that anyone who tries to monopolize the supplies meant for the people will be severely punished. Edna and Mike are watching over her, and she believes that the princess does not need to do this herself. However, Mike has contracted the simp disease from Sori, and he believes that this is a part of Alicia's charm. Just then, the redhead merchant who helped Sori enter the city comes there with her merchant group. She asks Alicia where they can load the food they have brought from the capital, and then realizes she was talking to the princess. As they talk, Sori also comes running to them, and Alicia is surprised that he knows the redhead. She introduces herself as Rose and then reminds Sori that he owes her a debt, and she examines his body, wondering if she should take her repayment with that. However, after teasing him and Alicia for a bit, she decides to get to work and begins unloading the supplies. Soon, Alicia's teacher comes there along with a knight that they have planted in the palace, and they learn that Chancellor Bartlow has ordered the troops to march towards the buffer zone with their neighboring kingdom of Rollins. Alicia learns the details from the undercover knight, who reports that high-ranking officers have received instructions for war. Alicia's teacher believes that after sending her away, Bartlow managed to convince everyone else to start a war, and he was planning to steal the supplies from the enemy villages near the border, and the first batch of soldiers will reach there at any moment. Alicia decides that she will ride to the border and stop the war at all costs. Sori wants to go with her, but Layla is opposed to it. He asks her why she is stopping him, and she replies that a battlefield is a place where evil aura runs thickest and can consume humans whole. She claims Sori is not ready to see a human turned into a demon just yet, when he suddenly feels a strong evil aura coming from a demon nearby. As they walk into a dark alley to find the source of the evil aura, Sori feels it is more evil than anything he has felt before, and Layla says this is a human demon. They soon reach the room where the evil aura is coming from, and Sori nervously enters it and looks around to see a demon in one corner. Layla tells him to focus and see his human form because normal people will see him just like themselves. She asks Sori to purify it, and he attacks the demon with his sword. However, just as he makes contact with it, the terrible memories of the human corrupted by evil aura pour into his mind, and he gets tossed away by the escaping demon. Sori chases after him because he doesn't want to let him create havoc in the city, and with one swift strike, he purifies the man. The man returns to his normal self, but Sori takes emotional damage. Layla tells him that purifying a corrupted human means absorbing his evil aura into the hero's body, and Edna adds that it is the most demanding part of the job. After learning this, Savray says his work is still not over, and he walks to a graveyard, where he stops in front of the grave of a person murdered by the demonized human. He stabs the ground with his sword and purifies the pitiful soul as the hero. Sori then tells his friends what he saw in Hell's memories. He got into a quarrel with his brother who attacked him, and he took his life in self-defense. The survivor's guilt and grief turned into an evil aura and turned him into a demon. Layla asks Sori if he still wishes to go to the battlefield despite knowing the risk he must face to purify humans, and he replies that it is exactly why he must go there. On the other side, Alicia is busy making preparations to stop the war. She decides to take all the soldiers she can and cross the mountains to quickly reach the buffer zone and stop their army. Her master has also brought out her great spear, and she plans to assist her student in the battle as well. She is happy and leaves to make some more preparations, but finds that all her guards are missing. Suddenly, assassins surround her, and Alicia tells them they have no time for her. One assassin attacks her, but she overwhelms him and knocks him out before pointing her blade at the leader of the pack, who is the same assassin who attacked her before. The leader asks what she plans to do after reaching the battlefield, and when Alicia replies that she is going to stop the war, she deems it impossible. Alicia says she can't stop even then and stands firm in her belief that the kingdom of Hillen will not attack first. The assassin boss asks her if she is willing to let her soldiers die needlessly while the enemy attacks them first, and Alicia hesitates, giving the assassin a chance to attack her. As the assassin overwhelms her, she declares that she will not let anyone die for her foolish ideals, as even one death is a grave loss, and Alicia puts the blade to her throat, saying she's willing to die for her ideals. Her words move the assassin, who steps back and puts her weapons away. She walks past Alicia, who tells her to be prepared for the consequences of attacking a princess, and the assassin replies that she is not afraid of execution. However, Alicia has other plans, and she orders the assassins to follow her into the battlefield and witness her stop the war with her own eyes. To give the leader a better view, she slices off her mask, and after verifying her identity, she asks her help with food and supplies. The assassin reveals that she is actually Rose and tells Alicia that she will accept her request as a merchant now. Before leaving, Alicia makes one final request to Rose, asking her to stop people from taking revenge for her if she dies because she does not want the cycle of hatred to continue. Rose promises her to work for peace in her stead if she loses her life, and they leave to prepare for their departure in the morning. The next morning, Sori and his party wish the angel Roland farewell, entrusting the safety of the city to him once again, even though he messed up the first time. He accepts the job and says it is bound to go better now that Atuk is staying behind to help him. However, Ella keeps on remarking that if it happens once, it will happen twice, and Mike keeps on shutting her up. Just then, Alicia comes there and asks Sori if he is ready to leave. They ride out along with their army, along with a merchant group led by Rose, and Alicia explains the details of the warfare to Sori. She believes that the army led by Baltro is heading towards a basin, where they will set up their base. She thinks that both armies will be evenly matched with around 20,000 troops each, and the 1,000 soldiers on her side will try to stop them from fighting. Her teacher says she might need to fight her own soldiers in the worst-case scenario, but Alicia believes they will understand her. Soon, one of Alicia's elite guards named Ian joins her after hunting a giant boar for dinner, and she overshares things about her private affairs before realizing that the hero was riding with them. She goes over to his side and ogles him before remarking that he looks different from the rumors she heard. Sori wants to know about the rumors, and she replies that people say he recently killed a dragon, roasted it, and then ate it whole. Sori can only laugh at it, and then Ian asks him to hold her hands. He obliges, and the perverted girl starts to moan as she declares she is never going to wash this hand. Alicia scolds her and then asks her for a report on Barlow's army, and Ian replies that her estimate is correct and he is taking 20,000 soldiers with him. At night, Alicia can't sleep and she finds Sori in the same boat. They go to the river on a hydration trip, where Sori tells her that if the war has not yet started, he will help her prevent it, but if it has already started, he does not plan to join any side. Alicia understands, but when they reach the battlefield, they notice that the war has already begun. Sori can feel the thick evil aura from miles away, and Alicia's teacher says there is no way to stop the war now. However, Alicia is adamant about talking it out with the general, and if he does not listen, she plans to capture him. She leads her party through the thick mist, where the enemy archers open fire on them. A soldier loses his life trying to protect Alicia, but then Ian takes charge and kills the enemy archers with 360 no-scope headshots. Alicia's teacher decides to stay here in case more enemies come, so Alicia and Rose head ahead to the general's camp. They enter the fortress, where the general is taken aback to see the princess in the war zone herself, and she commands him to immediately send an envoy to the enemy camp to sign a truce. However, the general refuses to obey her royal order and claims that Bartlow has ordered him to win the war at all costs. He orders a knight to capture Alicia and injure her if necessary, but he is no match for Alicia and loses instantly. The general is frustrated and commands all of his knights to attack the princess at once, and Rose tells him it is not a good idea. He says a girl like her should only be in the kitchen and not in the war zone, which irritates both the girls, and they beat the shit out of the knights. The general can't accept that his men are losing to 2 girls and tells them to kill if necessary. Alicia forbids Rose from killing anyone, even as they get overwhelmed. However, Rose cannot hold it back anymore and attacks a knight with the intention of killing him, but Alicia blocks her attack because she doesn't want anyone to die. However, one knight takes this opportunity to stab her in the back and she collapses. The knight who stabbed her loses his mind due to guilt, but the general tells him to finish the job. He hesitates and backs away, but the other knights gather close to Alicia and Rose. Rose tells them that there will be consequences for this, and as she screams at the knights to stay away, a strong gust of wind blows them away. The girls wonder what's happening, and then they realize that there is an angel helping them out. Rose puts Alicia against a pillar and apologizes that she cannot fulfill her promise of non-violence. She shows her acrobatic skills and jumps over all the knights to reach the general, who tries to catch her but misses. Rose points a knife to his neck, telling the knights to drop their weapons because if they don't, their general is gone. While Alicia is working for peace in her way, Sori goes to a high position from where he can see the entire battlefield. As both sides kill each other, their evil aura takes the shape of demons and Sori decides to stop them. He jumps into the battleground and all the soldiers stop as soon as they see him. Sori charges at soldiers from both sides, and with his hero powers, he manages to purify those who have turned into demons without killing them. It takes a great toll on his mind as the violent memories of his targets surge into his mind. He falls to his knees, saying that the evil aura entering his body is too huge for him to handle, but despite that, he doesn't quit and charges ahead to purify more soldiers. He transforms into his fire costume and burns the demons, but then Roland's soldiers shoot the burning projectiles from their catapults. Sori transforms into the water costume and shoots down their catapults using the bow Mike gave him. After that, he transforms into Earth mode and hits the ground with all his might, rendering it unsuitable for straightforward warfare. He punches the demonized humans, and soon only a few demons are left to purify. He uses Mike's power and his special move Arrow Rain to purify all remaining enemies at once. Just as he does that, Sori collapses because he has used too much energy. His angels come out of his body and exclaim that they have ended the war, but then Sori suddenly feels an evil aura coming from another direction. He runs towards the direction haphazardly, falling many times on the way, but soon he can see that the war is far from over. However, the greater danger is towards their backs, and as Sori turns around, he finds an evil aura like he has never seen before. The angels are also stunned as they say they have never seen an evil aura like this before and wonder what kind of monster is causing it. Sori can tell that it is the evil aura of a human, but he cannot see to whom it belongs. All clues point only to one thing, and Layla declares that this must be the Lord of Calamity, the hero's archenemy. Just then, a messenger from Highland Army announces a ceasefire, because Rose managed to get through the general. However, the Lord of Calamity and his servant are not happy about the war ending so quickly, because they have not yet received all the evil aura they need. Sori rushes towards the Lord of Calamity, and his angel friends follow him. The final boss has a gigantic evil aura domain surrounding him, and Sori wonders if it is even possible to purify a guy like him. Just then, he sees the figure of his enemy in the cloud of evil aura and rushes towards him. Sori declares that he will purify the gorilla-like Lord of Calamity, who taunts him, asking him to show his worth as the hero. Sori attacks him, but the villain stops his attack, showing him a glimpse of his human form before tossing him away. The angels surround Sori, and he borrows their powers one by one to attack the villain. However, he defends against the fire sword using a barrier, deflects the water arrows, and when Sori tries to hit him with a shockwave through Earth, he counters with his energy blast and sends him flying. Sori and the angels are injured, and then the villain dissipates his terrifying evil aura to reveal the hundreds of demons that plague the battlefield. Sori gets up to fight him once again, but Layla tells him they are not ready for that yet. However, the Lord of Calamity gives him no choice as he commands all the demons to head towards him. The demons combine into a mass of pure evil aura, and the villain sends them towards Sori to test how much he can endure. Sori blocks the evil aura as the villain monologues about human evil aura being the strongest force in the world. Sori slashes away the evil aura, and then the demons attack him instantly. He fights back but runs out of stamina pretty quickly, and the villain tells him he cannot make a difference. Sori gets up, declaring that he won't stop until he has purified all evil aura from the world, and then he will bring humans and angels close again. With his friends covering his back, he jumps up and starts purifying the demons again. He is having a hard time fighting the demons, while the villain and his assistant go about their evil monologue. However, the Lord of Calamity has had enough, and he does not want to finish his archenemy right away. He decides to leave, but not before telling the hero to survive this battle and grow strong enough to give hope to the entire world. He wants to crush Sori when the entire world is depending on him, as that will create the most intense and vast evil aura. He vanishes, and his assistant follows him. Sori is on his edge after fighting for so long, and his angel friends come to support him, saying that even if they cannot purify the demons like the hero, they can still disperse them. On the other hand, Alicia's teacher and other knights are trying to treat her, but her condition is too severe. However, even then, Alicia is worried only about stopping the war. Rose does not want her to die, and she rushes to fetch Sori, hoping that the hero can save her. She rushes onto the battlefield and borrows a horse to find him, but then she suddenly hears the voice of the angels that protected her and Alicia earlier. She does not seem to be very fond of him, but follows his directions to find Sori, who has finally managed to deal with all the demons. Just as Sori turns towards Rose, a surviving demon launches a surprise attack on him. However, the new angel binds it with his chains, giving Sori the chance to finish him off. He tells the hero to not die yet because there are many things he has to do, and then Rose tells him about Alicia. Sori rushes to her side and heals her, thinking about their first meeting. After a long time, she finally wakes up, and they chat about how thankful they are for meeting each other. Sori is glad that the first human he met was someone like Alicia because that made him believe in his dream even more. After that, Alicia declares that she plans to move back to the capital because her main role as the princess of this nation is to make sure that there is no possibility of war. She plans to become more active in politics, so something like this can never happen again. Sori then tells her to become his knight because that way they can grow stronger together and protect each other. Alicia says she would also like that, and Sori asks Layla to conduct the ceremony. She asks him to give Alicia a new name in the ancient language after the ceremony to complete the contract, and then starts reciting a poem about the cycle of life. A magic circle descends on Alicia, and Sori gives her a Latin or Greek name, imparting a fraction of his power to her. Alicia thanks him for the power, and then she is moved to tears as she turns around and sees the three angels for the first time. They talk all night, and the next morning, Alicia and her group prepare to leave. Alicia and Sori wish each other a long goodbye, and Rose approaches them, asking them to get a room. As Sori wishes her goodbye too, something suddenly attacks him and sends him flying. Sori gets up and sees a demonized knight, who asks him how dare he take away his military exploits. Alicia identifies that the voice belongs to the general and wonders when he became so ugly, and he declares that he will take her head and prove to the chancellor that he's more useful to the nation than her. Layla explains that he has turned into a demon, and Rose tells Sori that he is the idiot who hurt his girl. Sori is furious and draws his sword despite Layla's warning that he must not give in to anger. She tries to stop him, but Sori just pushes her aside as he tells the general that people like him are a burden on Earth. His friends fear he's going to be consumed by evil aura at this rate, but Sori persists and purifies the general without taking his life. Alicia thanks him for her help and declares that the general will be put to trial once they reach the capital, and Mike compliments Sori for controlling his rage. Soon, they wish the princess goodbye, and then Rose approaches Sori, reminding her of the favor she is owed. She wants the favor repaid now, and both Mike and Edna agree that she's up to no good. Rose asks Sori to accompany her on her trade journey to Roland's because she is dealing with some tricky customers, and having the hero with her will boost the chances of success. The angels don't see any problem in this, and Sori agrees to help Rose. She is happy, but then sneakily approaches Sori again, whispering if he can see the weirdo who came with her yesterday. Sori says that the angel called Dezel is resting on top of the carriage, and he announces his presence by playing a little prank on Rose. The angels think he will be a fun guy to travel with, and then Sori moves ahead, asking his friends to follow him because their work is only beginning. Soon they make a stop for Rose and her merchant group to buy some herbs. After she learns they are selling stolen goods, she confronts them and knocks them all down without needing anyone's help. At night, her friends drink some herbal tea while Sori practices with his friends. Layla surrounds him with a fire ring, telling him that even though negative emotions cannot be seen, they exist and give birth to evil aura. It is the hero's role to accept that evil aura and create forgiveness instead. She attacks Sori with the fire ring, and he tries to imagine purifying it. After that, Mike joins the training, saying that evil aura creates contradictions like combining fire with water. He combines his powers with Layla, and when they attack Sori together, he feels like the Lord of Calamity is attacking him again. He is helpless before it, and his friends realize he is still not ready. Just then, Rose comes there and asks him if he was training with fire and water. Sori tells her that he is trying to develop his abilities to recognize properties of evil aura and ways to counter them. Rose is impressed, but she sees a good business opportunity and tells Sori he can put on a show as he travels the world, and people will gladly pay him. Sori just laughs it off, and then Rose tells him to get some rest as they are going to reach their destination in the morning. The next morning, they reach the trade capital of Roland's, which is quite vibrant. Rose takes Sori to her head office, which is a complete supermarket with all sorts of products being sold there. After that, she takes him to a warehouse where an old man called Mavin approaches Rose. She greets him by throwing hands, and after he successfully dodges her attacks, he presents 2 jade statues he has found in some ruins nearby. Sori and Mike examine the statues before Mavin greets him. Rose says that Mavin is an explorer and a storyteller who is over 100 years old. Just then, a bunch of local farmers and hunters come running to Rose to make a deal with her. And after she is done with them, she realizes one of her regular dealers is missing. She later tells Sori about the dealer named Glenn, who is an oddball, but he knows a lot about the legend of the hero. So she wanted to introduce him to Sori and get a heavy discount by getting him to meet the current hero. Just then, Sergei, the captain of the Roland's Knights, comes there with an arrest warrant for Sori. He asks him to elaborate, and Sergei replies that he saw his power on the battlefield a few days ago, and the country cannot let such a powerful individual roam free. Rose jumps down and stands up for Sori, telling the captain that Sori is the hero who ended the war without killing anyone. She reminds him that he has no right to arrest him without due procedure, but Sergei is adamant. He's even willing to fight Sori if it comes to that, but before Rose can say anything else, Mavin distracts her, and the people who were in the warehouse leaving the captain face to face with the hero. Later, Mavin acts as a mediator between them and makes them sit down for a drink as he tells Sori the story about the two jade statues that are set to stop all fighting around them. Sori picks up a statue and finds that it is unnaturally heavy. He wonders if that is because it is a relic from the age of mythology. Mavin laughs at his curiosity and then says that he could make a fine explorer. Sori then asks if he knows anything about purifying a dragon, but the old man has no idea about it. However, he claims that he once met the previous hero, who told him something interesting. The previous hero said that bad thoughts are within everyone's heart, including his own, and he wondered if it could be called evil aura too. Also, he wanted to know if necessary evils also give rise to evil aura. In short, he was more confused about the question of evil aura than Americans are confused about their genders, and even Sori has no answer to his questions. Sergei takes a big gulp of alcohol and interrupts their philosophical discussion, and seeing him get wasted, Sori decides to take his leave. He finds Rose going away as soon as he comes, and he asks the Wind Angel Dezel about that. He says the hero should not be concerned with her because he is going to protect her anyway. Rose goes to her team of assassins who are going to deal with a bishop today, and her team soon takes control of the church. They apprehend the bishop and question him about embezzling public funds and silencing witnesses. He hesitates, saying he did not kill them, but that is all Rose needed to hear as his testimony, and she disposes of him quickly. Sori sees her return from her second job late at night, and in the morning, he finds her doing business like she didn't kill a man yesterday. Soon after that, they have breakfast where Rose reveals that she is a bit creeped out by the angels. Sori then asks her about the man named Glenn, and she plans to pay him a visit in the afternoon since he has not contacted her yet. As they start eating, Rose spots Sergei, who has come to apologize for the confrontation yesterday. She teases him about the flowers a bit and then invites him for breakfast. He's a bit more relaxed around Sori now and is surprised to learn that things like dragons, demons, and angels truly exist. He tells Sori that a bishop passed last night, so his men are dealing with that case while he's here to keep an eye on the hero. Just then, one of his men comes there and tells Sergei that there was an explosion near the church which has opened up a deep hole in the ground. Sergei leaves to deal with that, and Mike tells Sori that they should help. Sori tells Sergei that the spontaneous explosion could be because of evil aura, and he volunteers to help. Before that, Sergei's underling tells him that the bishop was most probably assassinated, and the story about him dying from a disease was fake. He is shocked, but he continues to do his duty and visits the site of the explosion. Sori finds a deep hole that was created because of the explosion, and it stinks of evil aura. He enters it to find more details, with Sergei following him. The hole leads them to the underground sewers, where Sori asks Layla to create light. Sergei is baffled as he sees angelic magic, and Sori asks him to follow him. Soon, they reach a place where evil aura starts to get more intense and incomplete demons are everywhere. Mike suggests they should perform a purification ritual here, and Sori tells Sergei to stand back. They purify the water, and all the incomplete demons are instantly purified. However, the true source of the evil aura lies ahead, and Sori learns from Sergei that the waterway leads to the cathedral. He realizes that this place is similar to the underground ruins they visited in Laddie Lake, and the evil aura was because of the evil acts hidden here. They go ahead and come to a dead end, and some church knights ask them to return because the area in front of them is not open for visitors. The knights recognize Sergei, but despite that, they do not let him pass through. Sergei cannot pick a fight with them so casually, so he decides to retreat, but now he agrees with Sori that there is something shady going on here. He reveals that all is not well in their country, and recently, the church was starting to expand its influence and had even established its own knight order. However, Mike thinks that even though the condition of Rollins is the same as in Helland, there is no dragon here. Sori asks Sergei if there are any natural disasters pestering their country, and the only thing he can think of is the never-ending rain in the capital. Sori believes that it's caused by evil aura, so he decides to pay the capital a visit later. They exit the hole to find the captain of the church knights pointing a sword at them, asking them what they are doing in his territory. Sergei tells Sori that Grumman is the leader of the knights that just stopped them underground. Grumman wants to know what they were doing under the church, and Sergei refuses to answer him. Meanwhile, Rose visits her friend Glenn's house and learns that he went to the church to fix some furniture but never returned. Rose realizes that the bishop and his gang killed him, and she's furious. She wants revenge, but her assistant stops her, saying that she had sworn to silence her emotions when she decided to work as an assassin. Rose does not want to sit back now, and then Dezel appears right next to her, asking if she wants his help. She can only hear him and finally realizes that the voice she always heard was not her imagination but an angel. Dezel says he has been watching the entire time, and he believes that her way is correct. That's why he wants to teach the greedy church people a lesson on her behalf. Rose accepts his offer, but before she can put some terms and conditions in place, Dezel disappears into the wind and she decides to chase after him. He runs to the church at full speed and uses his powers to create a destructive tornado there. Sori and his friends notice the destructive tornado and see Rose running straight towards it. They decide to pursue her, and Edna uses her power to put all the knights out of commission. Grudin survives her attack and he wants to stop Sori, but Sergi stands in his way, telling him to let the savior go ahead. The angels tell Sori that if Dezel keeps harming the people around him, he will be consumed by evil aura. They want to deal with him and ask Sori to take care of Rose instead. Sori reaches her, and at the same time his friends reach Dezel and ask him the reasons behind his actions. He refuses to tell them anything and says that if they are here to stop him, he will just blow them away. He sends a strong gust of wind towards them, but Edna blocks it using a rock wall, and Mike launches his counterattack with icicle lances. Rose can also feel the presence of the angels fighting even though she cannot see them, and Sori asks her why Dezel is doing this. She can't form a proper answer, and then suddenly, a huge fireball starts consuming the tornado. Layla manages to absorb the strong wind pressure into her fireball, which explodes and does more damage to the church than the tornado did. A few rocks go flying towards Rose, and Dezel protects her before going back to fight Layla. However, she blocks his attack and shows her true strength by creating a giant fireball and sending it towards him. Dezel somehow survives the strong explosion with his wind barrier, and then Rose yells at him to stop. He accepts her words and surrenders. Later, Sori asks him why he attacked the church, and he replies that it was punishment for their sins. Dezel starts with his backstory, saying that he once traveled alongside a bunch of ruffians and came to like their leader. The leader was a jack of all trades, from doing business to killing people, but he always fought for the weak and helpless. One day he found the young Rose and adopted her. She was raised well and became a respectable person, like her adoptive dad. Dezel had watched her grow up, and he likes her enough to do whatever she wanted him to do. Just then, Rubin and his knights find them, and Sori goes to resolve things peacefully with them. Rubin first asks him what happened at the church, but Sori gives him some cryptic quotes he read in a cheap book. He learns that the church knights have taken Sergei into custody, and Grudman wants the hero to help their country. Sori asks him if it is the country that needs his help or if the church wants to fight against the royal family. He even throws in the third option that they might want his help in the war, but he refuses to do anything like that. However, he agrees to visit their capital and see things there before running away. Grudman wants to talk more to him, but Edna creates a wall between them because she doesn't like men with ponytails. Later, Sori's friends ask him what he plans to do, and he replies that he wants the people of this world to live happily alongside each other before they can be ready to live with the angels. He thinks that right now there is too much conflict in the world, which is the main cause of evil aura, and he wants to meet as many people as he can to better understand it. They soon return to their lodging and meet Mavin there, waiting for the hero before he leaves on another journey. He talks with Sori about the question of the previous hero, who wanted to know if a necessary evil would also be the source of evil aura. Mavin gives the answer he has arrived at and says that the most important thing in regard to the question of good and evil is honesty. He believes that those who are honest about their purpose and actions can steer clear of evil aura, even if they make some evil choices. Mavin leaves with that, and Sori thanks him for the answer. As they overlook the city, the angels tell Sori that he has always been honest in the way he lives, and that is why they will follow him wherever he goes. Edna says she is only following him because of the contract, which reminds Layla of Alicia. She tells Sori that if he focuses hard enough, he can connect to Alicia because of the contract and hear her voice. Sori tries to focus, but he isn't skilled enough to do that yet and cannot reach her. He wonders how she is doing right now, and the answer is not good at all. Alicia and her team of knights have been attacked by Baltro's soldiers, and they fight an uphill battle as they try to save their lives while not killing anyone. They are overwhelmed, and many of Alicia's soldiers sacrifice their lives to keep her safe. Eventually, she manages to take shelter with the remaining soldiers at one of her favorite childhood hiding spots. Soon, Ayan comes to report that the group under her teacher's command was also arrested by Baltro's soldiers for harming national interests, and they are after the princess's life. While her soldiers are furious about this, Alicia is filled with guilt. She believes that even though what she did to stop the war was justified, she led many good people to their deaths. As she wonders what she should do, she sees a vision of Sori, telling her that they should get strong together. Alicia finds strength and inspiration in his words and tells her soldiers to follow her once more because they will now storm the capital and take back what is rightfully theirs. As she prepares to deal with the warmongering Bartlows in her country, Sori prepares to visit the capital of Rollins to deal with their everlasting reign and to learn more secrets about evil aura. His journey as the hero will be even harder now, but he will definitely emerge victorious with his friends by his side.